Welcome back. In this video clip, I'd like to introduce you to our settings menu. You can find the settings menu on the home screen, work page, and setting. Opening it, you might find yourself familiar from your Android or Apple device, and you have the network, wallpaper, and other settings to do here. Let's start with network and connection. So you have Wi-Fi and Ethernet, and you can connect to any Wi-Fi available. This time here in our setup, we're connected to the Ethernet, and this is important to remember. You can either connect to Wi-Fi or Ethernet, but you can't connect to both networks at the same time. So we are connected to Ethernet, and next is hotspot. What does that mean? That means the integrated Wi-Fi module in the screen can create an access point which allows other devices to connect to the network provided by the screen. If you have the display connected through Ethernet to the internet, the hotspot will share this internet connection with all the devices connected. Remember, this is not a professional access point, so it's fine to do spontaneous meetings with up to 10 devices. That's fine. If you want to have a proper and residential setup, then we recommend you to use a professional access point. How do you connect? Of course, you can activate it and deactivate it. Then you will find the small hotspot icon on the home screen. You can rename it. The default name is Kindermann TD with a random 4-digit code. And of course, encryption is always recommended and pre-activated. Then password, of course, you can define it by yourselves. And to make it easy to connect for others, just click on that QR code and there will be an enlarged QR code available which can be scanned with the camera of your smartphone, and that allows you to connect automatically to the access point provided, which makes it very convenient to connect. Last, we have Bluetooth, which allows to connect mobile devices like smartphones or sound bars to the device via Bluetooth. And of course, you can also connect, change the name of the Bluetooth in the settings. What else do we have? We have the wallpaper. We have pre-installed a nice selection of wallpapers. Can just change it by clicking on the picture. The background will change immediately, or you can activate the automatic change of the background in a predefined period of time. Let's go back to the regular one, and of course you're able to install your own background. Just use a JPEG file and upload that to the screen. Language and keyboard allows you to change the language settings of the entire screen. And if you have a hardware keyboard, no matter whether it's wired or wireless, connected to the screen, there will be another menu available which allows you to change the hardware layout, the hardware keyboard layout to your local settings. So you have QWERTY, QWERTZ, and the French one, the AVERTZ, available to select. Date and time, that's quite obvious. You can select or set up the local time and date. And you can either do that manually or, like in our case, we have just activated the automatic sync, which connects to time server in the internet and keeps the time and date settings always up to date. Security settings, they're a small tool to protect the screen from spontaneous use. You can either activate a lock pattern, which is something like that, or you can define a 4-digit numeric password. That's up to you. In the app folder, you will find the apps installed on the screen. Downloaded apps, that means the ones you have installed by yourself. I will explain in another video how to install apps on the screen. And you will find the system apps here just to check the version number and stuff like that in case of a support request. So next we have the input and output folder. Source settings, the video settings, please mind that those are just available if you have an external source. If you are in the Android menu, the video settings won't be available. If you select HDMI, OPS or any other video input, you can also choose the video settings and adjust the color, brightness and stuff like that. Audio settings allows you some equalization and to activate and deactivate the internal speakers. So that means if you have an external soundbar connected to the screen, you can deactivate, of course, the internal speakers at that point. Auto source selection on connection, so that means if you connect an external source like a notebook via HDMI, USB-C, you can choose whether the screen automatically selects this new source or whether you get a pop-up message on the screen which asks you whether you want to choose that or not. Auto source selection with no signal, that means if you unplug your computer, then the screen automatically searches for other screens available to avoid the no signal message on the screen, and then it switches to that. Rename sources, that can be very useful if you have like a dedicated product connected, a dedicated device connected to any of the inputs, like you have the HDMI is connected to a visualizer. And you can just enter that name here, confirm, and looking on the connect screen, you can see we have renamed the HDMI to visualizer. So let's go back to the settings, input and output, rename sources, done. Then we have source after power on. So when you switch on the screen, you can choose to which source it will start. So you can either home is the Android home screen, or you can just select the last one, or if you're always using it together with an OPS, then of course it makes sense to choose the OPS PC as your default input. Lock sources, that's also quite useful. For example, if you are in a classroom environment and you want to make the usage easy, so you know there will be never a VGA device, never a DisplayPort device, and you want to block the second HDMI as well, then just close the lock, and then those sources will simply be available but indicated with a lock, and that doesn't allow you to select those sources. So last not least, you can select the output resolution. So our displays have an HDMI out to connect the screen to a projector or a secondary screen if you are in a larger room environment or something like that. And here you could select the resolution, whether it is 4K or 2K. Please mind, the output will always show the identical image like you have on the display itself. So this will always be a mirrored output. So that's it for the video settings. HDMI edit, that's available if you choose an external source like HDMI, then you can choose whether it is a 4K 60 or 4K 30 input resolution. That could be helpful if you are running in HDMI signal troubles, like dropping signals, black screens. So then select HDMI EDI D1.4, which is 4K 30. That reduces the data rate dramatically, and that could help to solve signal issues at that point. Last, auto adjust. This is an old feature which is only relevant for the VGA, for the analog video signals. So let's have a look into audio. You can choose USB microphones. if you have connected them. In our case, we have a speakerphone connected, so I could select that, or I could also connect a regular line-in microphone with a jack connector. And for the output, it's just another possibility to control the volume of your screen, additionally to the buttons on the front or the control center the same, so that all works together in the same meaning. In the power settings, you can define the behavior of your screen when there's no signal, or what happens if it connects to the power. Let's start with auto shutdown. So that defines the behavior when you disconnect, for example, your notebook, your computer, and there's the no signals image on the screen. Here you can select a certain period of time until the screen goes to standby, which is of course my recommendation in order to save energy. Behavior when connecting to the mains, so that means either when you connect the power cord or when you switch the screen on. There's a real power switch on the back side next to the power connector, and when you provide power to the screen, you can define whether it goes to standby or directly boots up. In some environments like museums and so on, it could be helpful just to cut off and on the power supply to start and deactivate the screen. So then we have the standby settings. You can activate that button, switch off automatically if no input is made, and then you can select a period of time until this will happen. Input in that case is meant to be a touch input, so touching on the screen means in that case automatically switch it off when no input is made. Then we have the time for power and off. Here you could define a real schedule, like weekdays. You are in a classroom environment, and you know at 8 your lesson starts, so you can select like 7:55 to automatically switch on the screen, so it displays already ready when the teacher joins the classroom, and you can just start right away and do not wait until the Android is booted up. Same for power off, which is also a recommendation to make sure that the display doesn't run through the night and save some energy. Last, we have some auto wake up settings here. The first is auto wake up when connecting a source. So that means if you come with your computer, your HDMI cable, and you connect that to the screen, then it automatically recognizes the HDMI signal or any other video signal, and it starts up. So that's a very comfortable feature. And the last one is for the IT guys, wake on LAN, so that if you activate that option, then they can just send a wake on LAN through the Ethernet, so that the screen automatically gets on from a centralized control system. So that's it for the power setting. Let's have a look in about. There's nothing to set. It's just an information menu. You can define the device name, which might be useful if you have more than one screen in your building. For example, if you're a school and you have like 20 screens, so they can rename them according to the classes, classrooms, or in an office environment according to the conference rooms, which makes it easier to identify. Yeah, the other information are more relevant if you want to reach out to our support team, which is available through email, support@kindermann.de, or you just visit our website, touchdisplays.eu, and use the form to contact our support team. So you have the screen, the article number, a serial number, the memory, the version of the system, of the Android system, which is very important, and the firmware version. And of course, at that point, you can set the display back to factory default. We recommend you just to do that in case of an emergency, or if you want to put that screen to a different different installation, since this will erase all data and you will have a brand new screen like you take it from the box. Last, we have others, and there are some useful features. Lock remote, so you can deactivate the IR control. You can lock the touchscreen, which is temporarily lock. So when you activate that, you will find this icon here to deactivate that. That might be useful if you want to avoid unattended controls. So let's go back. And lock front buttons, if you deactivate them, so you can prevent people from switching it off through the front buttons, for example. Then we can hide sidebar. So you can see here on the side, these sidebar icons are disappearing, and if you combine both, then you have a good protection to prevent the screen from changing any settings, like switching it off or changing the audio volume and so on. You can still control the screen through the IR control, and if it happens that you have activated all of them, then you still have the chance to use a mouse or an RS-232 control to control the screen, but that's very unlikely to do that setting. Last, we have the other section on the settings menu. Here you can find lock features. So you can lock the remote, and then you can't control the screen anymore with a supplied infrared control. You can lock the touchscreen, which is a temporary setting, so you can't control, the touchscreen doesn't work anymore, but you can see this icon here, which allows you to release the touch lock at any time. Let's go back to the settings. And last, you have lock front buttons. So that blocks the usage of the front button. For example, I can't control the volume anymore. And if I activate the next option, hide sidebar, at the same time, then I have a pretty good protection on the screen for unattended setting changes. So you can see here the small black arrows are disappeared. I can just show that to you. On the other side, you have it the same. And if you activate that, again, you block the usage of the most of the controls. Well, let's deactivate that and go to the next one, smart palm detection. What does that mean? Typically, when you write on the screen and you want to erase that, you can just use your fist or your hand as a large object to erase that. I will show that in the whiteboard explanation. If you deactivate that, then you can, your hand won't be recognized as an eraser, so you can put that on the screen while you're writing, and that's the option of the usage of that option. Then we have the limit app installation. If you activate that, you can't install apps anymore, APK files from your computer. So this allows you to limit the installation of software to a certain level. And last, we have Windows Ink. So this is a feature which only works in combination with Microsoft Windows 10 or 11, and the best usage is in combination with the Office suite from Microsoft. That allows you to use a pen like you used maybe from your Surface tablet and draw and annotate right away in the PowerPoint or Excel Word files or the Microsoft Whiteboard app. And here you can just select between the different level of this Microsoft Windows Ink protocol. I recommend you to test your favorite configuration on a Windows environment and to set it according to your preferences. So that's it for the settings. Thanks for watching.